going to be teaching everybody how to install the internal power filter kit for our core power supply and Mac Mini music servers. The kit comes with a couple of different pieces. We have obviously either your Mac Mini or our Mac Mini. It's going to come with the internal power filter, which is this device. It comes with the logic connector, and you can see a 2.5 millimeter barrel connector that screws into the back of the Mac Mini, and I'll show you how to install that. The only thing you're going to need to do this modification is two Torx drivers. One is a T6 and one is a T8. You won't need to do any soldering or any of that sort of nature. And so just follow along and we'll guide you through the whole process. It usually can be done pretty quickly. You have to rotate the lid off. I usually use the lid to keep track of the screws that I'm unscrewing. So looking at the Mac Mini here, we have a couple of different T6 screws. We have one here, here, and here to remove the fan. So you're just going to start by removing those screws. So one thing you have to be careful of when you're lifting up the fan, you'll see, I don't know if you can see it right here, but there is a wire connected to the logic board. So all you have to do is get your pry tool out under there and it'll pop right up. So then you can just set that aside and you're good to go from there. So we have a couple of other T6 screws in here that we need to remove before we can move forward. There's one on the logic board right here, and there's one on the, it's basically a shield for the heatsink for the CPU and GPU. So what you're going to do here is just unscrew that. It's a very tiny screw, so just be careful removing it and set it in your tray. And then you have another one here in the middle that you will remove this way and put that aside. The easiest way to get this piece out is just to lift it up by the corner, and then you're going to just pry it right out. It comes right out and it'll fit right back in that way. So there's a couple more things here that we need to remove. There's a piece here. This is the serial ATA connector that holds that connects the hard drive to the logic board, and all you have to do is pry that right up. It comes right out. And this piece is very important. It's very easy to break this connector here, and so what you're going to have to do is just get your tool under there, the same way we did with the fan. So that is out, and now all we have to do, this is the Wi-Fi shield that we're looking at right here. You're going to grab your T8 driver and just unscrew these and set them aside. These two screws here hold the Wi-Fi device to the hard drive, so as you're unscrewing it you'll feel the hard drive come loose. That's not a problem. Okay, so just unscrew those. Eventually it'll disconnect. And then to pull this piece out, you're just going to grab it by the Wi-Fi logo here on the black, and you want to just slightly nudge it towards you, and it'll pop right out. Okay, so you're going to nudge it towards you and slightly up, and that'll come loose. And then it pulls right out. When you're pulling it out, you're going to see that it's actually connected to a board as part of the logic board. You can either leave this connected or remove it, but the easiest way is just to pull it right off of the connector. We'll show you how to install that back when we're all finished here. So you can set that aside. What you see here is the hard drive. We can replace that with a solid-state drive fairly easily. That comes right out. The next part of this puzzle is just to slide the logic board out. So the easiest way to do that is just to pry it out this way, push it towards you, and it pops right out. As you're pulling it out, something to be very careful about is make sure that right here you have the power supply logic board DC cable that you want to remove. So as you're pulling it out, just pry it right out there and it'll sit right in place. And now you can pull the logic board all the way out of the Mac Mini. And the next step here is to remove the power supply, and there's one T6 driver here, or one T6 screw here that you can remove to get to the power supply. And again, set that one aside. And there's another piece in here. I don't know if you can see that, but if you look underneath the S8 connector, you're going to see a metal clip that's underneath that connector, and all you have to do is slide that out and set that aside. You're actually not going to need that anymore, but it's a good thing to keep either way. And then to remove this connector, all you have to do is twist it to the side. So you're going to twist that connector to the side and pull it right out of there. And so that's that. You can look at the stock power supply here. The next part is where we start to work on the internal power filter. The easiest way to install it is going to be to mount it before you slide the logic board back inside the chassis. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab the IPF. You have to unscrew the nuts on the end. There's also a washer here that you'll have to remove, just so you can make sure that there's enough space on the outside. So we have the IPF here, and all you're going to do is you're going to slide it into the rear plate of the Mac Mini. And you'll see that that comes through, and then you're just going to screw it in with the nut. Once that is screwed into place, you have the logic board connector on this side. You want the gold fingers to be pointing towards you, and you'll see on the back side here there's a clip, and so you're just going to clip that right into place where it was plugged into before, and that is it. You're all set to go there. So the next step here is to grab the Mac Mini case again. Set that in front of you, and you're just going to gently slide this back into place. And try and keep things out of the way, and it should slide right back in. Okay. Okay, and that clicks right back into place, and then all you have to do from here is start reconnecting the connectors. And we're good to go. And flip it back over. We're ready for testing and seeing if it works. So the next step here is just to connect the DC cable that we have. You can see our core power supply, but the process is going to be the same for all of our power supplies. So you're going to grab the DC cable. Usually what I do is I connect it to the Mac Mini end first. Don't worry about this connector here. It's actually not going to screw in. It won't reach. But don't worry too much about that. It doesn't make a difference in terms of performance. The other thing is you're going to actually plug this into the back. This is a twist lock connector, so you're going to plug it in and then twist it until it locks. The next step is to plug in the power, and you're going to grab a display cable or whatever other peripherals that you're going to have plugged into the Mac Mini, and then all you have to do is press the power button. And you'll see here in a second that we're going to pop up on the screen and know that we worked. So you can see the Apple logo here. And that's pretty much the whole process. From here you can go ahead and adjust your account settings, set up your Mac Mini and get everything going. If you send us your Mac Mini, it'll be the same as you left it. So it's visually going to be function the same as a stock Mac Mini. And that is the process for modifying and installing the internal power filter. Like I said, it's going to be the same process for any of our kits. And you should be able to get it done in about 10 to 15 minutes. Enjoy.